Welcome to Real Love Conversation Episode 6. We are going to give you a crash course in the inner child process. If you've not gone through the Tidy 10 at 10s from 1 through, I think we're on episode 18 now, it's okay. I'm about to give you a brief overview of what it is. The first thing that I want to tell you is when you hear the word inner child, if you're anything like me, you just like, ugh, you just cringe just a little bit. And that's because the inner child work that we're used to thinking about is that of the 70s and 80s, or not, like, it's just old. It's old. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that a lot of us have a bad taste in our mouth from it because it's just a lot of digging in the past. I just want you to understand, I get that. And I know that I'm using the term inner child, but this is not that process, okay? I'm not about to make you go talk to me about, your 2-year-old self and your 3. It's not that, okay? The only part of that I'm using is the language, the word, inner child. And why is that? It's because I'm breaking down the parts of your mind into 5 little children that live inside your head that we are working to help release them from a bunch of fears, release them from a bunch of misunderstandings, and help them mature in their coping skills. And why do we want to do that? Because then you get to live a more balanced life, a more stable life, and then you get to start to create the kind of life that you would like to live. Why do we have 5 of them? We have 5 of them because that touches every area of your life. And if we're taking care of each aspect or each of the children, if we're taking care of each one of them, then our life becomes balanced. Meaning we're not just giving all of our time and attention and focus and obsessing over relationship. Or we're not just giving all of our time and attention and obsessing over work. We are spreading it out. We're becoming more balanced and more functional in what we're giving our thought energy to. There is no more obsessing. There is no more, getting in and processing and overthinking and all of that stuff. There is a video out there called 5 Signs that the Caretakers Nowhere to Be Found. We're not doing any of that anymore. These inner children, these kids that live in the inside of your head, are no longer just allowed to run wild. They are given a structure. They are cared for. They are maintained by who? The caretaker, which is the you, the consciousness of you, the logical you, the calm you, the mature you, the one who knows better you. Now, why is it that you know better but sometimes don't do better? Well, it's because you, as the caretaker, are not standing in your power, and one of these inner children who do control your actions and behaviors, if they get in fear, they're going to do things through you, and you will not be able to stop them. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I reacted like that. Well, that was them reacting through you, one of your children having a childish reaction through you. One, because you weren't present to help them before this even started. And then 2, you weren't there to, it's just one thing. You weren't there to help them before this started. If it's already triggered, it's too late. They're going to come out and do the thing. So you want to work on them with their triggers before the thing happens. You want to help keep them calm. You want to help meet their emotional needs. You want to help ignite them and excite them. You want to be their cheerleader. So let me go over each of the inner children now, okay? So you have work, home, body, relationship, and money. Body inner child does not have emotional or mental needs. It has physical needs. Meaning, if emotional trouble is brewing inside your head, it's not coming from body. Unless one of the others has sabotaged it, got its hormones all out of whack, and now the hormones are influencing the emotions of the others. Body just has physical needs. Body just wants to be cared for. Body doesn't care how it looks. Body's not like, oh, I really don't like how I look in these pants. No, that's probably relationship inner child. Because relationship inner child has social needs and wants social acceptance and wants people to like him or her, or wants to look a certain way so they can be accepted in the world. That's not body. Body just wants to be fed healthy things, moved when it needs to be moved, cared for the way it needs to be cared for, given enough sleep. Body is very just the physical, just the basics. Just physical needs. It is not emotional. Okay? Then home. Home is also less. You've got 3 of them that are more your troublemakers. Okay? And home's not one of them. Home inner child is about the environment. It's about anything in your around you physically that needs cared for. That's what that one thinks about, and that's what that one focuses on. Okay, so he or she is thinking, oh, I want my house to look like this, and I want my rooms to be set up like this, and I want, this to function this way, and I want this to be organized, and I want everything to have a home. If you talk to that part of you, I guarantee, and you ask her how she wants to live, she's going to tell you. Now, does that mean if you look around your house, that's how you're living? No. And why is that? Because one of the other 3 that we're about to talk to has probably dominated all of your time and attention and has sabotaged so many things that home can't live how she wants to live. You're so unconscious, you just leaving dishes around, you don't have any habits, any structures set up because you don't have a relationship with home inner child. She's not been allowed to say a word. So she's kind of that quiet child who is actually super healthy and super functional if you give her time and attention. But if you don't, she's not going to pop up. I mean, she might sometimes and be like, I really don't want to live like this. She might whine a little bit and be like, I don't want to live like this. I want to do better. And she might try for a little bit and be like, okay, I'm going to get some new habits. But one of the other troublemakers will come in and sabotage all the time and energy again. And all that goes to the wayside. Just like body. You may be like, oh, I really need to take better care of my body. Usually that's Home's idea. Home's like, hey, we really need to take care of body. Body's not feeling too good. And so Home starts a little plan and says, okay, we're going to put good things in the body, and we're going to go to the grocery store and start this juice fast, and we're going to do this and that. And she starts it, and then one of the other 3 jump in and sabotage that every single time. So then Home and body are just sitting there like, yeah, okay, well, whenever you 3 are done having your dramas and your worries and your struggles, when you 3 are done dominating everything, maybe, my home life and maybe my body can get healthy. Now, let's talk about the 3 troublemakers. You got money, you've got relationship, and you got work. All 3 of these have heavy emotional needs. The emotional needs that I have found for each one. Relationship usually wants to know the emotional need, the cup that it needs to be, what needs to go in her cup or his cup is I'm loved, I am wanted, and of course I am safe. I'm loved, I'm wanted. You are wanted around. You are loved. You are, I want you around. I love you. I want you. Like she wants to know or he wants to know that. Work inner child wants to know that it is valued, that it is good enough, that it's a value to the world, that it has some, Lovey, what do you need? That it has something to contribute. And so that's its emotional need. Heavy emotional needs by these. It's constantly trying to figure out or get the validation that it's valuable, that it's recognized, that it's seen, that it's heard, that its work is loved. You think about a little a little outer child who has colored something, or who has made something, or who has created something, and they're, that's work. That's their work. They're sharing something with the world. They're creating. And so they bring it to the person, to the parent or to whoever they're around, and they say, look at this. What are they wanting in that moment? What's the little emotional need that they're wanting to have met? They're wanting to know that was valuable, that's a good job, that they're good at what they do. They're wanting that praise, that validation, that recognition. They're wanting it from an outside source. And for a little kid, that's perfectly normal and healthy. They don't know how to give it to themselves yet. But as adults, that's what we are to learn, that, even though your mom's going to praise you, you've got to also learn to tell yourself those things inside your head. You've got to also say, you know what, I did a really good job on that. That was a really amazing job that I just did. I'm really proud of myself. That was very valuable to the world. You've got to say those things, learn how to say those things to yourself. That's how you meet your own emotional need. You fill your own cup, which is what this whole process is about. Money, inner child, mostly its biggest thing is, I just want to know I'm safe. And because we do live in this physical world, money says, oh, okay, well, money is safety. If I have money in the bank, I'm safe. If I don't, I'm not. Which is valid. It's a valid point. But what you have to start to do to change it, because all this is about vibration, to change its vibration is to say, you know what? When we are a team, when the caretaker and God, we are a team together, you're going to, that money is all around us. You can trust in us as the team. We are your safety. Not the little piece of paper, not the currency outside of you, not the number in the bank account. That's not what's supposed to meet your emotional need for safety. It's supposed to be an inward, we're supposed to fill our own cup on the inside. Whether that's through words or that's through using imagination, knowing we're safe, having confidence in knowing we're always cared for. And that comes from, that child has that confidence and that trust and that faith because the caretaker is always telling it that. Hey, you've got nothing to worry about. You are a child of God. I am here as your caretaker. I'm always going to take care of you. Our path is guided. You're always going to have exactly what you need. You are abundant. Like that type of inner dialogue needs to be playing on a loop for that little money inner child to have its emotional need met of safety. So, all right. So now let's move on to this. When you first start this process, those little inner children, especially the troubled ones, money, relationship, and work, who have the biggest emotional needs, they're not going to trust you as the voice of reason, as the comforter that you are. Your consciousness talking to them inside your head, or even if you're like me, I talk to them out loud. They're not going to let that in. As in, they're so used to getting things done on their own. They're so used to going around you and finding someone outside of you to meet that need. Like through a relationship, like, oh, well, I'll just get a new boyfriend or I'll just get a new girlfriend and they'll make me feel loved and wanted. Or I'll just go get this new job and it's already got a $20,000 sign-on bonus, so right then and there I've got security, so I'll go get my need met that way. Or that was kind of money. Let's see, work would be like, oh, well, I'll go get my recognition through, posting a bunch of stuff on Instagram or on social media, and I'll get a bunch of likes and a bunch of hearts, or maybe I don't. or maybe I do, and I'll go try to get my needs met that way. And they end up doing a lot of actions and behaviors that are totally out of alignment for themselves. Like, because they're acting from fear and they're acting from desperation to get their needs met. They get in relationships that aren't good for them. They get into jobs that aren't satisfying or even in alignment with how they share their gift with the world. They get into jobs, they take on jobs or they take on work just to get the money, just to calm the money inner child. None of that is in alignment with their truth, with their path. The only way they can get alignment is if those three, especially those three, surrender. Surrender that strong will and detach from any bond to a person on the outside of them through a relationship. Detach from any bond through some work that they do being their savior. Through that money in the bank account. Detach from that number in the bank account as their saving grace. They have to detach, they have to surrender, they have to detach from the outside bond, and then they have to start to create a bond with you, that voice of reason, that comforter, and with the higher power that you are both connected to, which is God, which has the bigger plan, which opens doors to everything. Like this is the door to everything. That is the only way to get into true alignment. But when you first start the process, you have to start to build trust, which means those three really strong ones that have the strongest emotional needs are not going to trust you enough so you'll be saying, you are loved. I want you. I love you. Like, I don't care if you want me or love me or not. It's not you I'm after. I want that person over there to say they love me and want me. So they're not going to want to bond to you at first. So the process is you have to show up every day. And you have to say, I know you don't believe it yet, and I know you don't trust me yet, and that's okay, but I'm just here to tell you how much I love you. And it's just here to tell you how much I want you, and I accept you 1,000%, 100%. There's nothing you need to change for me. Nothing. I accept everything about you. You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to gain weight. You don't have to have bigger muscles. You don't have to have smaller muscles. You don't have to change anything. You don't have to have a different personality. You don't have to make me the center of your universe. Nothing. I love you as is. And you start to tell that little part of you that every day. And then it's like, oh, yeah. Well, that's much better than this thing I'm trying to attain over here outside of me because I'm having to change everything for it. And even then, it's still not a win-win. Like, I don't even know if they're going to give me that love and make me feel wanted or not. They could go run off with somebody else at any other minute. Like, you're right. It is safer to get it inside. So show up every day. They start to trust that voice is there for them. That total acceptance, that total approval. That total care, that total love, that unconditional love. And then once they start to trust you, and this may take a while, but it will be proven to them that you are a much better caretaker usually through pain. They have to suffer a little bit, but then they're going to realize, you know what? Yeah, you are. You do love me more than anybody else ever will. You do want me unconditionally, and I don't have to change a thing. You do accept me just as I am. You are a better caretaker. You do always have my back. You are always here. You always do fill my cup. You've been trying to fill my cup every morning, and I've not been letting you, but I went through this pain here, and you know what? It is better. You are right. Like, I like what you're saying to me. Now I'm going to start to let that in. I'm going to start to accept that. Then I'm accepting self-love now. At first, when you start this self-love thing, it's not accepted. I don't want it from self. I want it from someone else. But gradually, that self-love starts, that those little inner children, those kids inside, start to open up to you and allow the words that you are saying to them in as truth. And then those little cups start to get full. And then your whole entire world changes. Your behaviors change. Their behaviors change because they're no longer in fear. They're no longer desperate. They're no longer running around like a crazy person, having surgeries and getting their lips done and getting their tummies tucked and going on crash. They're not, all that that they were trying to do to get accepted by someone outside of them, so that that outside person would fill their cup and give them a crumb of telling them they're wanted and accepted, they stop all that. It's like, that's nonsense. What the heck was I doing all that work for? Same with the work inner child, trying to get that praise and, oh, what a good job you did. And it's like, you've been filling their cup every day. They stop all that. Then the work that they start to do just becomes stuff that they enjoy doing because it's fun to them. Back in alignment. Money inner child, not worried about that number in the bank. I'm here with my caretaker and with God. I am safe. I am safe. I know I am safe because they tell me that every single day. They tell me how loved I am, and they tell me how safe I am and how cared for I am, and how the universe is bending over backwards to make sure I always have everything that I need whenever I need it, and I'm always cared for, and I know that now. I'm confident in that now, and I have no doubt in that now, and it's true. It's true on the outside of me. I can just look around and see it now that I trust it, and now that I let it in. Alignment. Now money's not hijacking the work inner child and saying, you better go take that job that you really don't want. And it's out of total alignment with us because I don't feel safe. You're not doing any of that craziness anymore. All the craziness stops because the fear stops, because the desperation stops. The cup is full. The emotional needs of the 3 troubled ones stays full. Then, guess what happens? The home inner child's like, yay, now I get to play a little bit. Now I get to have time here at home to create the environment that I want to have. Or maybe I'm not that kind of person that cares about having a home. Maybe I just love being out and being free to explore different environments. Guess what? I can do that now. And I can still take care of this physical. I just want to take care of the body. That's what home says. Home says my physical body is really the only outer environment I care to take care of and manage. So I'm going to make sure that it gets what it needs and it eats healthy things. And maybe I plant a garden for it. And maybe I always make sure I feed it all kinds of herbs and seeds and healthy, fresh foods. And yeah, I mean, that is how your life finally, you start to get to create the kind of life that you want to have. There's your little crash course. I hope that's helped, and I'll be back for episode 7 at some other time. Y'all have a great